Welcome to my presentation. In this presentation, we shall look at some more examples related to proportions. Let us say you are required to paint a wall, and if you require 1 gallon of paint for every 400 square feet of wall area, how many gallons of paint would you require for a paint that has 1400 square feet of wall area? So to answer these types of application problems, we will use the proportions rule to be able to solve this problem. We will write what is given to us from this word problem. So for 1 gallon of paint, we can paint 400 square feet of wall area. So let's write that as a ratio. For every 1 gallon of paint, we can cover 400 square feet of wall area. That is one ratio. And then what is asking us is how many gallons? Let that be X gallons. How many gallons? Since we do not know that, we'll call it as an unknown quantity X. How many gallons of paint would you require for a room that has 1400 square feet of wall area? So we have written the given problem down in terms of a ratio this way, and now we can use the proportions rule to be able to solve this particular problem. Let's write the proportions rule and let us see if we can apply the proportions rule to this particular problem. If we have, the proportions rule is telling us that if we have two ratios, A over B, and that is equal to another ratio, C over D, if we have an unknown quantity in any one of these ratio terms, if we cross multiply and then equate the extremes to the means, we should be able to find the unknown quantity. In our case, the way we can write this particular problem is as follows: 1 divided by 400 is equal to X divided by 1400, and if we were to cross multiply this using the proportions rule, we can write this one out as follows: 1 times 1400 is equal to 400 times X. Since we want to find the value of X, we're going to isolate the X term, so we want to divide by 400 on both sides. So let's write that as step 3. In the step 2, we have used the proportions rule. In step 3, we are using the division rule. We are going to divide by 400 on both sides. 1 times 1400 divided by 400, that is the number we've introduced here, is equal to 400 times X divided by 400. And when we simplify this, let me put a circle around this 400 here. When we simplify this, the 400 in the numerator and the 400 in the denominator cancels out, leaving us with 1 times 1400 divided by 400. So when we simplify this, the value what we're going to get from here is as follows: X equals to 1400 divided by 400, and that value is equal to 3.5. The value of X is equal to 3.5. And what is that telling us? That is telling us that you will require 3.5 gallons of paint to paint a room that has 1400 square feet of wall area. Okay, so let us tie it back into the given problem by writing it in step number 4 as we require we require 3.5 gallons of paint, 3.5 gallons of paint to cover a wall which has 1400 square feet wall area. So that is how we can use the proportions rule to set up the problem, and then to be able to find the value of the unknown, and then also use some of the other known formulas or known concepts which we know from what we have seen in our earlier video presentations, such as addition property, subtraction property, multiplication property, and division property. In this particular problem, we have used the division property. We have divided both sides by 400, and when we simplified it, we were able to get to the value of x. In my next presentation, we shall look at some more examples related to proportions.